When I was diagnosed with cancer at 31, I asked my mom to watch my 6-year-old twins during my surgery. Her response? We can't. We have bingo that night. My own parents chose a game over my life. So I made a decision, and they never saw it coming. Let me back up. I'm 32, married to Jake for 8 years. We've got twin boys, Mason and Carter, who just turned 6. Adorable little tornadoes who ask a million questions and still can't tie their shoes properly. I work from home doing marketing consulting, Jake's a civil engineer, and we live in a quiet suburban neighborhood outside Charlotte. White picket fence, good school district, the whole American dream package. My parents, Linda and Richard, live about 20 minutes away, close enough to see the grandkids regularly, or at least that's what I thought the arrangement would be when we moved here 5 years ago. Turns out they had other plans. See, my parents retired early. Dad sold his accounting firm when he was 58, Mom stopped teaching at 56, and they'd been living their best life ever since. Cruises every other month, wine club on Wednesdays, book club on Thursdays, and their precious bingo night every single Friday at the community center. Their calendar was color-coded and apparently written in stone. When the twins were born, I was so excited. I thought finally they'd slow down a bit, help out, be grandparents. But no, every time I asked them to babysit, it was always, "Oh, honey, we've got plans," or "We're not really available that week," or my personal favorite, "You chose to have kids, sweetie. We raised ours already." That last one always stung. But I bit my tongue. I didn't want to cause drama. I hired babysitters when Jake and I needed date nights. I juggled work calls while the boys screamed in the background. We managed. Until February of last year. I'd been feeling off for months. Exhausted all the time, weird pains in my abdomen, bloating that wouldn't go away no matter what I ate. I kept brushing it off. I mean, I'm a working mom of twins, of course I'm tired. But Jake finally made me go to the doctor after I nearly passed out picking up Carter from soccer practice. 3 appointments, 2 ultrasounds, and 1 biopsy later, I got the call. Ovarian cancer, stage 2B. I remember sitting in my car in the Target parking lot when my oncologist called. I'd just bought groceries. There was ice cream melting in the trunk. And this doctor I'd met twice was telling me I had cancer and needed surgery as soon as possible, followed by aggressive chemo. I was 31 years old. I ugly cried in that parking lot for 20 minutes before I could even drive home. The surgery was scheduled for March 15th, a full hysterectomy plus removal of surrounding tissue to make sure they got everything. The surgeon said I'd be in the hospital for at least 2 days, maybe 3. Jake would be with me, obviously, but we needed someone to stay with the twins. They were 6. They couldn't stay alone. They couldn't even make their own breakfast without starting a small fire. We learned that the hard way. I asked my parents on February 28th. I remember the exact date because it was Mason's school Valentine's party, and I was sitting in my car afterward, hands shaking as I dialed Mom's number. "Hey, honey," she answered, all cheerful. "Hi, Mom. I need to ask you something important." "Sure, what's up?" I took a breath. "My surgery is scheduled for March 15th. It's going to be about a 48-hour hospital stay, maybe longer depending on how it goes. Jake needs to be with me, obviously. We really need you and Dad to come stay with the boys." Silence. "Mom? Oh, March 15th? Yes. That's a Friday." My stomach dropped. I already knew where this was going. "We have bingo that night," she said. "It's the quarterly tournament. We've had it on the calendar for months."
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, this is my cancer surgery. I need you to watch your grandsons while I have my reproductive organs removed because there are tumors growing inside me." "Honey, don't be so dramatic. It's a routine surgery. People have these all the time." "Dramatic? She called me dramatic?" "It's not routine, Mom. It's cancer. They're cutting me open. There are risks. My voice cracked. "I could have complications. I need to know my kids are safe." "Well, can't you reschedule?" I actually laughed. It was this hysterical little bark of disbelief. "Reschedule my cancer surgery? Are you serious right now?" I'm just saying we've had this bingo tournament planned for a very long time. Your father is on the committee. We can't just bail. I have cancer. And we support you, sweetie, we really do. But you're young and strong, you'll be fine. Can't one of Jake's relatives do it? Jake's parents were both dead. His brother lived in Oregon. I'd already told her this multiple times. There's no one else, Mom. What about a babysitter? For 48 hours? Mom, they're 6 years old. They need family right now. They're scared. I'm scared. I need my parents. She sighed, like I was asking her to donate a kidney. I don't know what you want me to say. We have commitments. Your father and I have our own lives. We're not just sitting around waiting for you to need us. Something inside me snapped. You're right, I said, voice flat. You do have your own lives. Crystal clear. I'll figure it out. Don't be mad, honey. You're being overly emotional. It's probably the hormones from the cancer. I hung up without saying goodbye. I sat in that car seat and I sobbed, like full body shaking, can't breathe sobbing. Other moms were walking their kids to their cars, giving me concerned looks, but I couldn't stop. My own mother chose bingo over me. Jake found me in the garage an hour later, still sitting in the car. He opened the door and I just fell into his arms. They said no, I choked out. What? My parents, they won't do it. They have bingo. I felt his whole body go rigid. Jake is the most laid-back guy you'll ever meet, but I could literally feel the anger radiating off him. Bingo? He repeated. Quarterly tournament, I said, and started crying again. He held me for a long time. Then he pulled back and looked me dead in the eyes. We'll figure this out. I will call every service in Charlotte if I have to. Our boys will be taken care of, and when you get through the surgery, and you will get through it, we're going to have a serious conversation about your parents. We ended up hiring a private nurse named Patricia. She was 58, had raised 4 kids of her own, came with incredible references, and cost us $1,200 for the weekend. Money we really couldn't afford with all the medical bills piling up, but what choice did we have? I tried calling my parents one more time, 3 days before the surgery. Dad answered. Hey, sweetheart. Hi, Dad. What's going on? I just wanted to check one more time if maybe you and Mom reconsidered about staying with the boys during my surgery. Oh, honey, we already told your mother we can't do it. We've got the bingo thing. I know, but Dad, I'm really scared.
What if something goes wrong? What if... Nothing's going to go wrong. You're being paranoid. It's a simple procedure. Simple procedure. I was having my internal organs removed because of cancer, and my father called it simple. The boys keep asking why Grandma and Grandpa can't come stay. I said quietly, what am I supposed to tell them? Tell them we love them very much, but we have prior commitments. They need to learn that the world doesn't revolve around them. I was silent for a long moment. You're right, I finally said. The world doesn't revolve around anyone. I'll remember that. That's my girl. You're going to be just fine. We'll come visit when you're all recovered. Sure, Dad. I'll let you know. I hung up and immediately called my lawyer. Let me explain something. When Jake and I got married, we did everything right financially. We both had term life insurance policies. Mine was for $2 million. Sounds like a lot, but with 2 kids and a mortgage, it's really just enough to make sure everyone would be okay if something happened to me. My parents were listed as contingent beneficiaries after Jake and the boys. The house was in both our names, but we'd discussed that if anything happened to both of us, it would go to my parents to sell and use for the boys' care. I'd also given my parents medical power of attorney when I turned 25, back when that seemed like a responsible adult thing to do. All of that was about to change. Surgery day came. Patricia arrived at 5 a.m. The boys were still asleep. She had this kind, wrinkled face, and she gave me the biggest hug. "You go fight, Mama," she whispered. "I've got these babies." The surgery took 6 hours. They removed everything. Uterus, ovaries, fallopian tubes, some lymph nodes, part of my omentum. When I woke up, I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, then reversed over for good measure. But I was alive. Jake cried when the surgeon told them they thought they got it all.
I spent 3 days in the hospital, not 2. There were some minor complications with bleeding. Every time my phone buzzed, I hoped maybe it was my parents checking in. It never was. They didn't call, didn't text, nothing. I came home on a Monday. Patricia had kept the house spotless, the boys fed and happy. She'd even done their homework with them. Mason and Carter ran to me very carefully. Patricia had coached them about my stitches and hugged me so gently. "We missed you, Mommy," Carter whispered. "Did Grandma and Grandpa call?" Mason asked. My heart broke into a million pieces. "Not yet, buddy, but that's okay. We have Miss Patricia and Daddy, and that's all we need." That night, after the boys were asleep and Patricia had gone home, I lay in bed with my laptop. My incision hurt. I was exhausted, but I was also filled with this crystal clear, cold determination. I pulled up the documents my lawyer had sent me the week before. I'd already read them 3 times. Revocation of medical power of attorney. Signed. Amended life insurance beneficiary form. Jake remained primary, the boys as contingent. My parents removed entirely. Signed. New will and trust documents. The house would go into an irrevocable trust for Mason and Carter. If anything happened to both Jake and me, my parents would have 0 claim. Signed. I hit submit on all of them. Then I blocked my parents' numbers. I didn't send an explanation, didn't call to tell them. I just quietly removed them from my life. 2 weeks later, my mom called Jake's phone. He was at work, but he texted me, "Your mom called me, said you're not answering her, said she wants to bring dinner over now that you're recovering." I laughed, actually laughed out loud. The audacity. "Tell her we're all set," I replied.
He did. Apparently, she got upset. Said she didn't understand why I was being so cold. Said she was just trying to be supportive. Jake, bless him, told her exactly why. Told her that choosing bingo over her daughter's cancer surgery was unforgivable. Told her that I'd needed them and they'd made their priorities clear. She apparently started crying, said she didn't realize it was that serious, said she thought I was overreacting. There it was again, overreacting. Jake hung up on her. I didn't hear from them for another month. Then I got a letter in the mail. Actual snail mail, like we live in 1995. It was from my dad, handwritten. He apologized, said they'd made a mistake, said Mom was devastated that I wasn't speaking to them, said they wanted to be part of the boys' lives. At the bottom, in smaller writing, "We know you're upset, but we hope you haven't done anything rash regarding the family estate plan. We should talk about the house and the insurance matters we discussed last year." And there it was. They didn't actually care that they'd abandoned me. They cared that they might be losing money. See, I'd mentioned to them once, in passing, that our house was worth about $650,000 now, that our insurance policies were substantial. They'd been counting on it. I wrote back, 1 sentence. "You made your choice. I've made mine." That was 8 months ago. My last chemo session was in September. I've been cancer-free for 4 months. My hair is growing back. I'm getting stronger every day. The boys are thriving. We got a dog, a golden retriever named Pancake that they absolutely adore. Jake got a promotion. We took a trip to Disney World in November, just the 4 of us. My parents tried to show up at Carter's birthday party in December. I'd invited some of his school friends to a trampoline park. They walked in holding presents and wearing these big fake smiles. I walked right up to them in front of everyone. "You need to leave." "Honey, please, we're family," Mom said. "No, you made it very clear that your social calendar matters more than family. You're not welcome here. Leave or I'll have the staff escort you out." Dad's face went red. "You can't keep our grandsons from us. Watch me." They left. The boys didn't even notice they'd been there. Later, I got an angry voicemail from my mom saying I was being cruel and vindictive, that I was punishing them over one mistake. One mistake. My cancer wasn't a mistake. Their choice was. I had my lawyers send them a formal letter last month. Cease and desist. No contact with me or my children. If they violate it, we'll pursue a restraining order. I also found out through a mutual family friend that they've been telling people I cut them off for no reason, that I'm mentally unstable from the cancer treatments, that they're the victims here. Let them talk, because here's what I know. When I was at my absolute lowest, when I was terrified and sick and needed my parents, they chose bingo. They chose their comfort over my life,
over their grandson's well-being, and now they get to live with that choice. The $2 million they were expecting going to my boy's education and future, the house they thought they'd inherit, locked in a trust they can't touch. I survived cancer. I survived surgery. I'll sure as hell survive without parents who never really showed up for me anyway. Mason asked me last week why we don't see Grandma and Grandpa anymore. I knelt down to his level. Sometimes, buddy, people show you who they really are, and when they do, you have to believe them. Grandma and Grandpa weren't there when Mommy really needed them, so we're focusing on the people who do show up for us, like Daddy, like Miss Patricia, like each other. "Okay, Mommy," he said, and hugged me tight. "I'm glad you're better." "Me too, baby. Me too." I don't feel guilty. I don't feel sad. Mostly, I feel free. And every single Friday night, when I know they're at that community center playing bingo, I tuck my boys into bed, kiss their foreheads, and thank God I'm here to do it. They chose their priorities. I chose mine. And mine will always, always be the people who were there when it mattered.